KNick of
Ooh.
Time show. Go check out that show. It's a great show. It's a great show.
New York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time show, here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time, and it's time to talk about a loss. That's right, the Knicks just lost to the Lakers, a game I thought was going to be a little bit more competitive in, but we lost 110 to 97. We had Luka kind of light us up, but I feel like it wasn't just Luka lighting us up. It just felt like we were a little bit out of rhythm, Lee. I felt like the game was like someone trying to start a car and it didn't quite get going. Like the engine would start to rev, and then you might go like downhill a little bit, and then you just shut back down. I feel like that's what I saw for like 4 quarters. But we're gonna talk it out. We're gonna talk it out. All right. Before I do, I'm gonna introduce you to my guy. It is the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Beach Report contributor, my guy Lee Escobedo. What's good, Lee?
Jay Ellis, man, glad to be back on the pod. This loss did not move me one way or the other to extreme. Pendulum stays very still in the middle, still to consider his team championship contention because of how awesome Karl-Anthony Towns has been playing on both sides of the ball. But there are some things I think to talk about that are concerns. I have some concerns going into the playoffs about this team. Tonight they showed some of them. But overall, JJ Redick, I think, outcoached Mike Brown. There was so much happening at such a fast, high level. My brain is not mature enough basketball-wise to process it. I couldn't keep up, and I drew from that since LA won, Redick must have outcoached Mike Brown because they were doing so much in terms of the organized sets they were running. They have two of the best playmakers in the NBA. 3 when LeBron plays. No wonder they were able to execute so efficiently.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like a little interesting chess match going on between Mike Brown and JJ Redick. Definitely, I think coaching definitely played a part, but also the Knicks also missed shots. I feel like it was a combination of both because if you're watching this entire game, you can't come away with this game going the Knicks had no chance.
Agreed.
Because the amount of offensive rebounds we had in the fourth quarter, the amount of open shots we missed were just out of this world. It's like every time we kind of felt like, oh, here's that shot that we're gonna need to get us over the hump. We just didn't quite get it, whether it be Jalen Brunson, whether it be Mikal Bridges, or missing foul shots. We just never really got over the hump. And I don't know if it's daylight savings or what, but I do want to give the Lakers credit. I do feel like they started the game astute defensively. I thought Ayton put pressure on the rim. I thought they got Karl-Anthony Towns in some pick and roll situations where he didn't look the best, and it got us out of rhythm a little bit. And I felt like it got them off to a good start, and we never was able to recover.
Agreed. Unfortunately, this was another brutal offensive start for the Knicks. They opened up. They were down 4-11 to start the game, continuing the pattern that I've been talking about all season, especially in the last month. Even though they've been winning all their games, they still start. That starting lineup struggles to generate offense early, and a large part of that is both because we live and die by the 3, but also Josh Hart's role within that starting lineup. Now, I am not someone who thinks we can't win a championship with Josh Hart starting. I am still a very strong advocate for moving Josh Hart to the bench. Lots of people agree with that. Lots of people disagree with that. But I don't think Mike Brown is going to change it until a specific playoff series demands that he change it based on a matchup. But there are starting Josh Hart definitely comes with negatives as much as they come with positive. Tonight, I thought his defense was abysmal. And I thought his role within the offense when Bridges and OG are not hitting their threes is even worse. Yeah. It really clawed things up there in the first half. And Brunson seemed to be trying to find his teammates in the first half. He was in facilitation mode. And the Lakers really seemed to be wanting to stop him. Their main agenda is what our main agenda is when we go up against the Pistons or against the Thunder, which is blitz, trap, ice Brunson, traded him out of as a facilitator and just let him live with those long twos and tough shot making. And instead, he really was in his bag as a playmaker, trying to get guys generating open shots. However, our guys were bricking. We ended up finishing the game 8 of 34 from three. I think that rounds out to about like 23 or 24%, while the Lakers shot 15 from 44 from three. The Lakers threw all kinds of different kinds of defensive coverages at us. They threw zone, which I thought initially we did a pretty good job running some of that wheel and curl action for Shamet to get 2 threes. It kind of helped break it, then open up the lane. And then right when we started breaking again, Shamet moved to the bench. We started to paint on Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and we stopped running out to the corners. Once we stopped running out to the corners, we started to paint more on those baseline cuts and people positioning themselves kind of on a corner, not the corner, but like the mid-range in the three. Our threes really started bricking. And that off the driving lanes, it pushed Brunson into an isolation mode where I thought he started attacking the defense on his own, no longer playmaking, trying to hit the team back into the game, and it failed miserably. It played into their hands. However, the Lakers also weren't getting much offense outside of catch and shoot threes from their role players and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves' brilliance offensively. So there was enough there between Brunson and Cat and some of our dimension guys when Jordan Clarkson came in, and their 1-2 punch. Once Ayton's kind of fade off to background and Hachimura started becoming their third option with the open catch and shoot threes, it was kind of neck and neck there. Now, neck and yet plus or minus 10 because they really had double D lead throughout the game. But as you said, there were opportunities for us to win this game, I thought, but we couldn't hit a damn three.
Yeah.
Last 2 minutes, I did not like the process of Jalen Brunson in the game.
Yeah. I'm going to take it back to where you started with Josh Hart. It was rough. It was really rough. He, like you said, they really did a good job of just clogging the paint. And when you're clogging the paint and Josh Hart just keeps passing up shots, it makes the floor even smaller. And we tried a couple of things to get in the paint. Like we had like a nice little, like, I actually felt like, Brunson was trying to get Cat involved on like little pocket passes here and there that got blocked by Ayton. I saw Cat they did like a high-low thing where they give Pat the ball at the top of the 3-point line, and he passed to Mikal Bridges cutting, and he couldn't handle the pass, and that got blocked. Like I felt like the Knicks are trying certain things, and it was like an almost, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't quite there. It was like rimming in and out. And then also it's like I felt like the Lakers did a good job of guarding the corners in general. Like those corner passes weren't really there. Maybe they learned from the last game. So we had a couple of above the break threes open, but those weren't hitting. Like OG had a couple of wide open above the break threes, and it kind of went in and out. So like you said, Jalen Brunson went right back into ISO mode, and he's been cold for the last few games. So I felt like he kind of had to like try to work his way back into rhythm after being cold for 2 games, and it didn't really sit well. On top of that, the advantage that I thought we had might have been the bench, because there's a part of the game where Luka went on the bench, and you have Jose with Cat, and I forgot who else was in the game. And I'm thinking, all right, this is our time to make a push. Jose couldn't get into sets. It looked bad. And they forced turnovers, and they were scoring off of turnovers. Like, what happened, I feel like the game started to turn a little bit. I got a little bit of hope when when we figured out how to play Luka Doncic and ice him and finally rotate to the 3-point shooters, because for a long time the Knicks would try to ice Luka. Luka would throw these insane skip passes from one side of court to the corner, and they hit like multiple threes off of that same skip pass from Luka. And then as the game went on in the second quarter, the Knicks adjusted and they took away that skip pass, and we started getting turnovers, and we started to work way back in the game. And I'm just like, okay, I think we finally figured it out. We held them to like 23 points that quarter. I was like, all right, I think we're going to win the game now, because eventually these shots is going to fall, and they never really fell. It was rough.
Yeah, we really didn't have any additional playmaking outside of Brunson. They did a good job of kind of keeping Cat from being a playmaker and just allowing him to score and living with that. But we got no playmaking from Jordan Clarkson during his minutes. He was great scoring, because
Right.
that's what he does, but he wasn't generating offense for others. And this might have been Jose Alvarado's worst game as a Knick. He was completely ineffective. All of his offensive generation was either being stopped or forced into a turnover. And his defense, they were hunting him as well, because Lakers they have something. They have a lot of size.
Yeah.
They're almost like too big. They don't have a lot of skill, but they do have a lot of size. And Alvarado was just getting his pocket picked constantly on the outlet passes that he was trying to throw, and he became iced out of the game. This was a game where I thought maybe in the third, Brown could have moved to a Kola look and see what that could have given him. I actually might have even preferred that over Clarkson. It's one thing to put Clarkson in and expect to get some one-man offensive generated, but is he going to help others? And when he has that gravity, if he's affecting the defense in terms of, him driving the basket, he's not looking to pass. He's still going to score, even if there's a wall there. Kolek, however, has a 3-ball, and he has a great eye to be able to pass over or under or through or around these long, rangy defenders that the Lakers have. That's just – I'm not Mike Brown, but that's something that I saw where we down the bench, if Alvarado's not working, that we should put in at this point, because he can also hit the corner 3. Besides that, the bench gave us absolutely nothing. Mohamed Diawara still has some nice flashes, but this is a game I would have expected from him, right? This is like a regular rookie game.
Right.
4 games, 2 dimes. I thought he made some intriguing passes, good flashes. He was a good cog within the offense. The hockey assist that led to some scores. I'll let you talk about Mitchell Robinson, because my eye wasn't really trained on him in terms of not being effective. Landry Shamet, I thought, played phenomenal.
Yeah.
Shamet's defense, man.
He's
everywhere.
Position.
Going up vertical in the post, walling off drives, and using his body to just make things absolute hell for Luka and Austin Reeves. There were moments where he switched onto the ball, 3 different ball handlers. Switch, and he stopped all 3 drives. I was like, bro, man, the turnovers he was forcing while being one of the few guys that hit threes, shooting about 35% from 3 a night, was really involved in a lot of that wheel action too that kept us in the game. If I did Bridges anything, Bridges was doing a lot of baseline cutting. So was Shamet. That's so crucial for us to be able to have Brunson have some clear driving lanes going north to south. But overall, he was really the only guy on the bench that I didn't have smoked for. Unit, bro. I don't know if you want to touch on that now or later. Wingstop total 21 points between Hart, G, and Bridges.
It was bad.
0 points.
Yeah.
Probably his worst game overall as a Knick. Had some good, I thought, defensive moments. First and second quarter, pretty good switching. When the Knicks were doing a lot of switching on the Lakers. Pretty solid. Still had his 5 dimes, but -6 overall and plus-minus, and an atrocious passivity tonight on offense.
Yeah, we really couldn't get him involved. Like, I felt like defensively he tried defensively too. He got a lot of fouls. In general, I felt like we couldn't stop fouling. I think OG and Bridges in particular, they were a hackathon, and it wasn't because of lack of effort. It was just like they were trying to fight over screens, they were trying to close out, and they got a little overzealous. I guess it happens, but it was definitely rough. And Mitch, he started off well, getting 2 lives, but I feel like the offensive rebounding in the third quarter was a big issue. Because we would fly around, kind of get stops, and then they would get an offensive rebound. And I felt like Mitch wasn't really pursuing defensive rebounds as much as I like, maybe because he was flying around or something. But we got killed on the boards. I felt like when Cat got back into the game, that's when the boards got under the control on the defensive side of the ball. But they actually out-rebound us. They had 12 offensive rebounds to our 10, which I felt like was a big reason why they outscored us in the third quarter. But also, it's like this is weird thing that I'm liking from the game, Lee, that I just want to see more of. And it is the Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns 2-man game. It's starting to develop. I felt like I'm starting to see it develop from like a week or 2 ago. We start off the third quarter with like a series of off-ball screens to get Towns in the post, and it ends up being a Brunson feeding Towns in the post for an easy 2. And then they kind of flip it, and it ends up being Brunson with an open 3 because because Towns is screening for Brunson. I also seen a few pocket passes to Towns from Brunson. It's developing finally. It only took 60 games, but it's developing finally. And when we struggled to score in the fourth quarter, especially because we went too much Brunson ISO, I wish that we went back to some of that action a little bit.
That action really isn't. It can never be fully effective, and it can never reach the ceiling of its potential unless our wings are hitting their threes, because then you can just blitz the shit out of it and double. You can send an extra man because Bridges is 0 for 5. Right. Or OG Anunoby only takes 2 threes, or Hart is hesitating and passing out of his shot on the 3-point line. So while I like it, I think we need to see a game to where they're both being conscious in their effort to get the other one involved for each other, which is going to mean they both strain for each other as well. It's not just simply one pass to another. They have to strain for each other so the defenders stay interlocked and try to top lock that action. Right. But it also means that one of them can divert to someone else, and that opens up the defense, because otherwise you can just crowd out the paint and wait for them to get into that action and leave OG or Hart or whoever open, which is why I think when those two are being connective on purpose, Landry Shamet's very key in those moments, in my opinion. It's not the time when Alvarado is sharing the backcourt with him or Josh Hart's out there. That action, which is why I'm advocating for Shamet in the lineup, is that you can get to that action earlier in the first quarter. Say the first 10 plays that we run, 3 or 4 of them involved the first or second action being a pick and roll touch between Brunson and Cat. Shamet's there. He's a release valve for that. The defenders have to stay honest. But Mike Brown, maybe he's slowly easing that in to our offensive repertoire. But damn it, even if he wasn't, bro, the shooting was so abysmal. This is one of the worst shooting. It's a concern of mine. You know, the two teams I've seen that won chips being so live and die by the 3 were the 23 Celtics and the 24 Celtics and the 23 who was it? Denver?
You talking about Golden State, maybe?
Golden State. That's what I meant. Yes. Golden State and the Celtics were the two teams that I've seen be live and die by the 3. We are one of those teams. We don't really have a whole lot of guys that put the ball on the floor and create on their own. We do on paper, but I haven't seen actualized with this lineup together within synergy. So we don't have to check a lot of threes. If we play against a team and we have 1 or 2 games that were really bad, I'm not really sure how we did out of that rut. We tried to tonight, and without our 3 balls falling, Lakers were able to put their foot on our nets in the game.
It depends on the matchups too, because when it's not falling, if we get rebounds, we're fine. But also, if a team has like multiple huge wings, then it hurts us too. Because I felt like OG got off last game with Denver, but the Denver Nuggets have like a Munchkin Land team. You know what I mean?
Yes.
With the Lakers, OG tried to do the same thing, get to the hole, and it's just a lot of length. It's a lot harder to finish. So I saw Timmy say, "Go to the hole more. 3-point shots was not helping." When the team is long, it's harder to kind of go to the hole and finish in the crowd. So you kind of need the threes to soften up the defense a lot of the times. So yeah, man, tough game for sure. But good point about the 3-point shooting and the spacing. Salute to the chat though. Salute to the chat.
Dog.
And salute to my brother over here who came to join us for the post game. Mr. Knicks Nightcap himself, Phil Porto. Got the Phil Porter logo in the background. I see you, my guy.
Yo, that's
what up? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's kind of fly. I go.
Thank you. I was back in Florida and I was like, yo, I got my sign in storage. I'm going to go pick that up. So I got off the plane on Friday, went straight to the storage unit, picked it up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be bougie and put my name behind me again.
It's dope, bro.
It is what it is.
You gotta be sometimes.
Gotta be bougie a little bit. A little bit.
Yo, all right, Phil. Hi, Phil. We talked a lot about the game already. Well, I want to get your thoughts on the game.
Man, it was a rough one to watch. That's the main conclusion. Not because anything specific one person, but it seemed like anytime we started to get some traction, it was like one step forward, two steps back, you know, and it was just like every time we like started to gain momentum, it was just like, here we go again. You know, what is going on? Like we couldn't hit a bucket. Mikal Bridges, I'm sorry, he was just atrocious tonight. Like he was so hard to watch. Like, I'm sorry. I've said this before on our show. I don't care about 5 picks. 5 picks does not matter to me. But when you do not deliver night in and night out at even a 3-pick capacity or 2-pick capacity, you know, where you're like giving in that kind of performance night in and night out to at least show, okay, I may not have been worth 5 picks in some people's minds, but maybe to, you know, I can perform enough to where people think I'm worth 4 picks every night or 3 picks every night. But this season, it's like one game he's worth 5 picks, and then one game he's like, I should have been given a pick to bring you to the New York Knicks. You know, like, so that's been kind of hard to watch, and tonight was one of them. When Cat, I got to give Cat praise, because when Cat has not performed offensively over these last few weeks in certain games, he has still performed in other ways that have helped us to be close to winning or in contention to win that game. Cool. Mikal Bridges, when he's not on in one area, he's off in most areas. And that's what we saw tonight. Like, I did not see anything that truly made me go, man, I'm glad Mikal Bridges is still here. OG, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, OG's going off, and then all of a sudden OG's fouling and putting this person on the line, turning over the ball here, turning over the ball there. So it was kind of like a give and take away with OG. It was like everything that he did, he then on the next play would kind of set us back a little bit. But the biggest thing that I had a problem with, and me and Lee have talked about this before, is when it becomes a star versus star game, and the game is on the line, Jalen Brunson kind of gets this deer in the headlights kind of thing where he is just focused on the light, the spotlight. And I feel like even though he came alive in the fourth quarter offensively, he also did just as much damage trying to put everything in his hands. Those offensive fouls that he continued to commit cost us. You know, the turnovers of him driving and then realizing he had nowhere to go, and then threw it to where he thought Mikal was going to be, even though Mikal had already moved from that position. He didn't have an intention or a desire to give the ball away. He just could not figure out a way to score. So as a last resort, went to give the ball away to Mikal Bridges and cost us another turnover. So he had 4 turnovers in that fourth quarter. And that was a quarter that Cat was doing really well. And I wanted to see JB kind of find a way to work alongside Cat instead of in contention with who's going to be the one to score in this, you know, scenario. I feel like it was him versus Luka in that, and Luka took it. You know, Luka was not missing. Luka was making the defense pay. Jalen Brunson was giving us things, but then also taking it away. So that was my biggest frustration in the game, was that last fourth quarter, even though it was his best scoring fourth quarter, I feel like he forgot about a lot of the people on his team, and that kind of cost us in that race to come back into the game.
The chat agrees with you, bro. You got lots of people in the chat that agree with you, including me.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. We absolutely touched on that earlier. He actually had 7 turnovers for the game in Jalen Brunson. And we actually even talked about how exactly what you said. We wanted to see more of like a 2-man game with Jalen Brunson and Cat in general, considering Cat seemed like he was kind of sort of in the flow. He's kind of been sort of in the flow after All-Star game. So we want to see how that would work. It's interesting. It's hard. This is what makes it tough to be a scoring center sometimes if your name isn't Jokic. Because scoring centers sometimes have to kind of be fed the ball to take over. You're not going to really see a center just bring the ball up and like, all right, it's my turn. Like, you kind of have to get him into an action, and it makes it rough when he doesn't get the ball for long stretches and you feel like you're losing possessions because he's not touching the ball. So I really wish that he got the ball a lot more for sure.
Yeah, and the frustrating part was like, if you look at the first half of the game, which I was kind of confused by JJ Redick in this, DeAndre Ayton was actually having good minutes, throughout the game, on and off, better than Jackson Hayes. So the fact that it was Jackson Hayes in for that whole fourth quarter where Cat was starting to cook, I figured we would continue to rely on Cat to get the easy bucket and kind of chip away at that lead. We weren't shooting well from three at all. Like every time Doris Burke gave the rundown on how many threes we had missed, it was harder and harder to hear it every single time. So the fact that Cat was being able to be productive in the paint, I figured we would have relied on that a little bit more, being that Jackson Hayes was in the paint and was actually having trouble fouling Cat, in that fourth quarter. So I would have continued to go through Cat, and that would have opened up easier Jalen Brunson shots. But instead, Jalen Brunson kept forcing it, and then Cat would get the shot if he could. But if it was the other way around, I feel like JB would have been able to cook a lot more as well.
I want to give some flowers to Phil and also Karl-Anthony Towns. Agree with everything Phil's saying. Cat tonight, 25 points, 16 boards. What I love, 17 shot attempts. Love that. And he made 8 of them. So damn near 50%, a little under 50%. I thought he was the most productive Knick offensively. Thought he had more gravity tonight than JB. That's also because JB was getting blitzed the whole game by JJ Redick. We had a hard time adjusting to that as well. We didn't really have a secondary ball handler that stepped up tonight. But Cat Phil said he was awesome in the paint. Got to the foul line, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. His transition defense I thought was a little rough in stretches, particularly when Luka Doncic was in the game and was playing on ball. He had trouble with those advanced passes that were down the court. But I thought when things slowed down, the half-court set, he did a pretty good job at the rim, as he has been. I missed a Denver game. Still haven't got a chance to watch that. But I think for the games I have seen, the last 9-10 game sample size, and the stats back it up in today's Substack article, he's been elite defending at the rim, not just like blocking shots, but deterring shots and being a presence there outside just being a revolving door or cone in defense like he was for the first 2 months of the season. Thought he struggled a little bit against Ayton, surprisingly, that first quarter finishing through, but also a lot of that with the refs just not giving. He's got a terrible wrist. I don't know when that's going to turn around. Hopefully it does by the playoffs, if it does at all. But for the most part, I thought Towns was probably our best player tonight, him and Shamet, and he was the main reason why we had a shot in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. And also want to get into JB a little bit too, because Mike Brown was kind of in a conundrum too, where we looked at our bench, the bench gave us nothing.
That's a Phil take right there.
I wouldn't do that. I definitely wouldn't.
Phil's been saying that, yo.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we're going solely off of what we saw in tonight's game, I'm not saying I completely agree with that take, because Jordan has been, DNP or barely any minutes as of late. But when you look at the minutes, 27 minutes tonight, and Mikal took 6 shots, okay? Made none of them, okay? Jordan Clarkson comes in, plays 10 minutes, and puts up 4 shots and hits 3 of them. So you have a guy that, as he's barely gotten any minutes over the last 2 months, gets his opportunity and says, I'm going to make the best of every minute that I'm out here. Is Mikal a better player? Probably, yeah.
Yes,
but the effort and the fact that Jordan Clarkson, even with everything that he's had going on, still comes in and says, I'm going to utilize every single minute, and was able to at least help us kind of get back in that game in that fourth quarter, going 3 for 4. I'm sorry. Yes, Mikal is Mikal, but when is Mikal going to start playing like Mikal? Like, when is Mikal going to give us what we expect from Mikal Bridges? I am at least excited that Jordan Clarkson was a surprise and delight tonight, because Mikal Bridges was not. So, no, I'm not going to switch it up completely and throw Jordan Clarkson in right now. But if Mikal continues to play like Mikal, I would take him out less and have him play less minutes. If he's not going to be effective and efficient, make him earn his minutes. Like
Okay.
right now, what is he doing? Like, prove it. You want to be out there? You want to be Mr. Villanova Nick? Do something about it. Give us a reason to put you out on the court. And if Jordan Clarkson's going to make that much out of 10 minutes, give him 12 next game. 2 of those minutes should be Mikhail's so that Mikhail can feel it. And then if it continues, give him 14 until Mikhail starts playing like someone that's actually worth 5 picks.
That's a good monologue. When it started, I was totally against it. By the time he finished, I was on board.
I'd be totally with you if I didn't watch 60-something games of Knicks basketball with Jordan Clarkson playing. Like if I didn't see
can't say that though. You can't say that.
No, I can't say that. I'm saying it. No.
He was actually effective and efficient for us in the beginning of the season.
Hold on. I didn't finish.
All right.
I've seen Jordan, especially when it comes to the Jordan Clarkson, Jalen Brunson 2-man game. It doesn't work. It just does not. It is a bad when I see those guys on the court together. So putting them on the court at the same time and starting it to me is no. His defense to me has been so hard for long stretches. I was actually happy that he was benched. He is a release valve in case of emergency. If we can't score and we need to try something, put in Jordan Clarkson to see what he can do. And that's what he was today. But long term, I can't see him coexisting with other players on his team because of how we're built. It's like, it's really just about, are we struggling to score right now? Okay, put him in there to see if he can be a spark player.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And like I said, I don't agree with the whole starting situation, but I do agree, like, you're talking about him and Brunson. Well, Mikhail's not always out there with Brunson. Like, those are not the only minutes that you see Mikhail getting is alongside Jalen Brunson. Sure. Like, here's the thing, is if we say that other players lower down the totem pole need to prove their minutes, they need to prove that they are worth their time on the court, why is that not the case for Mikal Bridges? Why?
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying from the games that I've seen Jordan Clarkson play, he has one skill: shoot the ball. When he doesn't shoot the ball, he is useless. I'm sorry. Even with Mikal Bridges, even if he doesn't shoot the ball, he's like, I know you say he was useless today, and offensively he was absolutely useless, but he still gives you defense. He still has 6 assists. He still has 5 rebounds. He still does every other things. I feel like when Jordan Clarkson doesn't shoot and he tries to ISO in the mid-range over some guy who's way taller than him and it doesn't work, he messes up the flow of the team completely, and then he gives you nothing on the defensive end right after that. So I feel like people see one game and forgot why he was benched in the first place. That's why he was benched in the first place.
But here's the thing: is if you look at the efficiency and the numbers for a starter like Mikhail, okay, I will be dead honest. If this wasn't Jalen Brunson's squad, and we didn't really run the Knicks through Jalen Brunson. And I say that because, Jalen's even talked about how when they're making decisions, they have included him in those kind of conversations, that they also ultimately make the decision, but they include Jalen Brunson in the conversation, AKA, yes, they run it by me, is what he's really saying. If this was not Mikhail and it was somebody else with his efficiency and certain games where he's 0 for 6, 0 for 10, 2 for 8, and it's over and over and over again, his minutes would be cut and they would explore something else in a starting lineup. If it was not Mikal Bridges, look at the whole season. Look at the whole season. They would explore. So what I'm saying is, you want to talk about one skill set, and I agree with that. Jordan Clarkson is a scorer and can pass. Okay, that is what he's best at. That's what he's good at. He's a defensive liability. Okay, but if you look at Mikal, the one thing that he's supposed to be the best at, defense. Some games he's been good. Some games he's been atrocious. When it comes to scoring, he's one of the most efficient scorers that we have. But he can go 3 for 3 and then not shoot for the next 38 minutes of the game. Why? Who knows? And so accountability would be there for Mikal Bridges if it was not Jalen Brunson's best friend. If we're keeping it 100.
if we keep it at 100, you want to talk about efficiency. I don't think you want to talk about efficiency when it comes to Jordan Clarkson because his efficiency is in the dirt.
But I never said it was
a scorer who shoots 43% from the field and 32% from three is the business for the corners, and you're supposed to be the scorer and the spark plug, is not efficient. And when you're talking about a guy who's like, okay, why don't we bench him? We don't bench him because we are a short team. There is the other options other than Mikal is Mohamed Diawara, because once you don't have the wing stop and OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, now you have to face these tall teams, and you're relying on people who shorter them. That's really why he has the rope he has, because we don't have many other options as a wing. It's not a best friend thing. It's a size and matchup thing.
But here's my question for you. When a player comes in after not playing for so long, do you expect him to just shoot lights out all the time?
What was he doing when he was playing? Those was the numbers when he was playing. That's why he's sitting now. He shot 32%.
In the first half of the season, that was not the case. He hit a slump, and then he got completely taken out of the rotation. Now they're exploring minutes in him, and he comes in for 10 minutes, and he goes 3 for 4. So are you just going to ignore the games where he actually is productive and efficient?
You're wrong, Phil. I've been watching his efficiency the whole entire season. He started off the season being good for 3 from the corners and then slowly got to 30%. And he's like, he has not been good for the season. It didn't just start happening once he got benched. He got benched because he was doing that for most of the season, the second half of the season. And on top of that, his defense fell off a cliff. That's why he's being benched right now.
Hold on. I want to interject here. First of all, I love this debate. The views are spiking and the chat's going crazy. I want to clear up one thing I'm seeing in the chat. Mike Brown was not fired. I don't know why you guys are saying that in the chat. Mike Brown was not fired. Dan Lit B62 is trying to stir up conspiracy theories. He was not fired. He should not have been fired. This was not a game where you fire him. We've been the best team in the NBA since All-Star break.
Wait, somebody said fire Mike Brown just now?
Dan is saying that he was actually fired. It's confirmed, but he's being a troll in the chat. I just wanted to clear that out so our fans don't go crazy. I agree with Phil about if it wasn't Mikal Bridges, the 5 picks, the Villanova friendship, and all that, I think this player would have been benched.
For who?
I don't think it's Clarkson that should be.
I put Diawara over him in the starting lineup.
Or Diawara. It's hard to advocate for a rookie.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. It's like we don't have the depth to bench him. That's the point. It's not. Maybe Shamit. But the only reason why Mikal is playing over Shamit is strictly size and wingspan. That's really all it is.
And if he hits a ceiling, no one even comes close to his production. Clarkson and Shamit combined don't hit Bridges' production if he hits a ceiling in a game. Because he can do everything above average.
Right. Because Shamit was closing some games out over Mikal certain times. But if Shamit was 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, Mikal would be sitting down way quicker. Like straight up.
And I agree with Jay. Clarkson and Brunson is a recipe for disaster. As good as Cat has been playing at the 5 defensively, it's still not good enough to depend on the criticality of a defensive backcourt of Clarkson and Brunson. I see you agreeing, Phil, and you haven't really been on before the season started. You would like start Clarkson. I listened to you then. Now I don't think you're advocating for that. Now you're saying increase Clarkson minutes or even give him a role, decrease Bridges' minutes. That I'm not going to argue with because Bridges, to me, deserves his minutes being cut as of right now.
Yeah, my thing is, before I even get to Clarkson, if you're benching Bridges, it's a hierarchy to me. I'm going Shamit.
Yes.
I'm going Diawara. And once those two fail, then I'm going Clarkson.
But those guys are getting minutes. Like those guys, I don't think if you cut Mikal's minutes, you're seeing more of Shamit or Diawara minutes. Because those aren't really battling minutes. They're giving Diawara minutes when Josh is sitting. They're giving Shamit minutes, at different points in time as well. All I'm saying is, if a player is willing to say, "Hey, I want to prove myself, and I'm going to be efficient, no matter how many minutes I'm out there," reward that player and make the player who isn't being efficient and isn't contributing. Let them feel the fire. Like, there's nothing wrong with letting them feel a little bit of burn and saying,
Agreed.
other players want your minutes. You either earn them or you sit. Like, that's it.
That's not even what I'm like arguing. I'm saying he is lower on the pecking order in my eyes.
That's fine. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's a matter of that.
He gets what? 20
I think it's
minutes
a matter of who's efficient. Like Diawara, if Diawara was being efficient that game, like he was in the last game, he struggled a little bit, but the game before that, where he was going off, continue to give him Mikhail's minutes. Whoever's going to give you efficiency, give them minutes.
We're saying the same thing.
What I'm saying is Jordan Clarkson. If Jordan Clarkson's going to go 3 for 4 in 10 minutes, and Mikhail is going to go 0 for freaking 10 in 30 minutes, sit him. Like reward that player and see if that player can do it again next game. Like make it to where Mikhail knows that there are multiple players. Shamet wants your minutes. Clarkson wants your minutes. Diawara wants your minutes. And all those minutes are up for grab if you're not going to show you deserve them. That's all I'm saying is Mike Brown needs to put his butt to the fire and say, you either play well or you can relax.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. I'm just saying I'm picking Clarkson last because Diawara, like Shamet is playing 20 minutes a game. You're saying he's not competing, whatever. If you can go up to 30 minutes at that moment, right? Or Diawara's only playing 10 minutes a game. You need 2 wings. You want to have some other remnants of wing stop, and you want to have another wing on there with OG Anunoby. You put Diawara in there, you play 15 minutes. That's what I'm saying. And then if those two don't work, then if those two don't work, or those two are not in the flow, then you go Jordan Clarkson, which is kind of what happened today.
But Shamet already had 27 minutes, is what I'm saying. So Shamet was effective. He was out there. What?
32.
I don't see that happening. Like
32 minutes.
What I'm saying is he was effective. Mo Diawara went 1 for 4. That's why he didn't get more minutes. What I'm saying is reward whoever's eating. That's all I'm saying. Like reward the person that puts us in that game. It should be different every game. Like if someone catches fire, let's see how it goes.
My one counter to that is I think the reason we saw that early in the season where we saw moments where Cat was benched and Bridges was benched and Hart was benched, he was still experimenting with the rotation and am I doing 8? Am I doing 9? Am I doing 10? I think right now he's landed on 8.5 with Diawara being that 0.5. He doesn't – it's a little bit harder to say, okay, Bridges, you're benched. Now I'm going to bring this person to play all these minutes, but when the rotation's already set. It's like everyone knows this is a one-time thing. It's not a forward-thinking thing. Right. So even if Bridges is benches, I'm going to go back next game and do the same thing all over again. People don't really learn their lessons when their role is not really a threat, where it was in the beginning of the season when people in the rotation starting lineup wasn't even solidified. So I think there's a lower likelihood that someone is going to be benched right now in the fourth quarter, no matter how bad they're playing, because Brown has a set rotation and he's going to depend on Bridges at 20% over Clarkson at 80%.
And that to me is like, it's still the season, like knock these kinks out before the playoffs, like make him have a sense of urgency of wanting to be out on the court, make it to where he knows that up until playoff time, my complete roster moving into what the playoffs are going to look like is not solidified until I see how people fully perform throughout the season. Like, I understand Mikhail is supposed to be this guy, but if he's not going to be that in the season, why are we just going to hope that come playoff time, he decides to try and be that guy? Like, what I'm saying is make him feel a sense of urgency now. So by the time playoff time comes, he realizes, hey, I still have to earn my position, regardless of what the front office gave for me. Like, they still want me to earn this spot. Like, I feel like Cat's earning it.
This is a great point toward what you're saying, too. When Deuce comes back, then it allows Mike Brown to make those type of decisions, whether to yank him and keep him out of a game and maybe keep him out of another game, too, if his play is determining it, because now you have someone who can play the two, gives you the defense, gives you a three-point movement shooting on volume, can defend the point of attack, and give you a little bit of mid-range, too. Not as much as Bridges or as efficient, but we don't have Deuce right now, so we don't have that other awesome starter-level player outside of Shamet, so it does make it harder.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I hope Deuce gets back here too, because I know last thing Ian said was he was on track to come back in that 6 to 8 week time period. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully he's back and gets a few games under him before the playoffs, because I don't want him going into the playoffs trying to figure things out. You know what I mean?
We have to have him on this run.
Yeah, it's funny because like as great as Jose has been, he's been great setting people up and playing defense, but he does have these weird stretches where he can't hit the broadside of the barn sometimes. So it's like we're missing a lot of dead eye 3-point shooting.
Yep.
We're missing a lot of dead eye 3-point shooting, and it was a luxury to have both Shamit and Deuce come in off the bench, and you have to pick your poison between two ridiculously great 3-point shooters, both shooting over 40% off the bench.
Great point.
We don't have that right now. We got Shamit, who's still there. We have Diawara, who actually shows some. Actually, you know what? Diawara has been shooting around 40%. I'll give him that. I will give him that, and he's been looking more and more comfortable as he's gotten to play. But he's still a rookie. He's still a rookie, so he's gonna have these moments.
Can I read the super chat?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. Starts 518. Love that name. $5 super chat. If y'all want to give up on Bridges, go ahead. He says, "I'm rolling with McHale." I love that enthusiasm, and I love it. You paid money to support your man. Listen, bro. Shout out to you. Every penny counts. No matter how much you give, it absolutely goes toward helping us pay our StreamYard subscriptions, leveling up with signs and lighting for everything, for Phil to be able to hook us up and make this look nice and crispy with his advice. So we appreciate every donation, man. It goes a long way, and we love y'all for it. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, no, let me give Phil some flowers. Shout out to Phil, who helped us level up and look better on the screen. All right.
Not as good as him. I don't have a Lee Escobedo sign behind me.
Yeah. I don't got a J. Ellis logo on the back either, but you know.
I gotta get flowers too. Like I've spent years in the photo video game, and I've had people that have paid me for mentorships and taken notes and this, that, whatever. And then I'll follow up with them like 6 months later. And I'm like, anything change? And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go down the list. Did you do this? Nah, I was going to, but I haven't done it yet. All right, what about this one? Nah, I'm going to try that next time. And I'm like, it's been 6 months. Of course you still ain't like progressed, because you paid for something that you didn't even care, to even do. These guys, as soon as I said, yo, let's do something, Lee called me the next day and was like, what do I order? And I was like, yo, that's crazy. And then after he had his glow up, Jay was like, all right, my mic does sound off and I need to fix my lighting. What do I do? And we got in StreamYard and he fixed it immediately as well. Shout out. And then not only did that happen, but then I get a message about 2 weeks later, and they were like, yo, how did we do? And they sent me a picture of Ryan, and they helped Ryan glow up. So it was like watching the baton being passed. I was like, all right, these are my people. Yeah, so man, shout out to them. Shout out. So, but hey, to Starks 518, I'm not giving up on McHale. Like, I'm not saying trade this dude. Like, I'm one of the guys that said, I don't care about 5 picks. I believed in McHale. My problem is if I believe in you and you don't show up, and I show up more for you than you show up for you, I want you to be penalized. I want you to prove that you care about being part of this squad as much as I cared about you being part of the squad. So I'm not giving up on McHale, but I think that there needs to be accountability, and he needs to prove night in and night out that he can contribute to this winning championship, because this needs to be our year. We have to push forward. We have to try and grab the ship now.
Absolutely. I'm not for benching McHale at all. But if I do feel like you read the game, you know what I'm saying? If he's being effective, you keep him in. If he's not, you swap him out for somebody else. That's how I see it. Yeah. But I feel like his ceiling is. I feel like the length and the defensive intensity is something that we need on this team, especially for certain matchups. But then you got to read the game and adjust accordingly.
I love that Mike Brown even went to Jordan Clarkson. To me, that's something that I don't know if Tom Thibodeau would have done. I'm going to use that because we're still in year one of Mike Brown, and it's worth comparing and contrasting with 2 different coaching styles, specifically in the regular season for now. I liked it. I thought this was a game where Clarkson had an opportunity to get his. because he does have a very tight dribble and he's able to get into the mid-range, get his shots in the post. So it was a nice relief valve, and his minutes were solid. Not necessarily defensively, but I thought he played decent within the scheme, man on man. So for the most part, listen, if three stars are slacking, put in Clarkson or put in Kolek.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. So, shout out to my guy Timmy who says McCall got a resume, and if we play Boston, I want McCall on the floor. We play Philly, Cleveland, anybody else, give me the guy with the playoff resume. Yeah, like I said,
what you were saying about McHale, I know you guys want to see. I mean, not McHale, about McBride, about wanting to see him back. With a few weeks before playoffs. But didn't Ian say in his most recent article this week that if he comes back, it'll only be a week before playoffs start?
I didn't see that.
I mean, I didn't count 6 to 8 weeks. Probably works out in my mind. I was thinking 1 to 2 weeks before playoffs. That's what I was thinking.
It was saying it looks like 8 weeks, and 8 weeks would put him at a week before. So it says if McBride returns 8 weeks after surgery, he'll be back on the floor the final week of the regular season.
Okay.
So yeah. So
all right.
From watching Mitch, they've been pretty smart about pushing, the timeline, to make sure that the player is at the right healthiness before putting him out on the court, which I appreciate. So I would be surprised to see him out there before 6 to 8, before that 7-8 week mark.
Absolutely. And there's two things to consider when you're talking about injuries. One, you're talking about, does the player trust their body enough to go full out? So he has to feel comfortable enough to go full out and play offense and defense with his body, making sure he doesn't re-injure himself or feels comfortable like exploding and stuff. And two, just being in rhythm, because sometimes I do feel like Knicks fans don't give players grace when they come back from injury, and they expect them to be exactly the same player they were right before they got hurt. And it just takes some time to rev up, get the timing right, get the shooting right, get the schemes right, get their wind right. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's the case with Deuce too.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes a while.
Exactly. And that's what most players. That's what most players. If you're injured and you come back a long time after injury, you don't come back being the guy you were right before injury. Like, you have to first of all, basketball pacing is different than running on the damn treadmill. If you played ball, you know what I'm talking about. All right, you can run on that damn treadmill all day. If you're going a pickup and they go 1, 2, 3, 4 down the court 3 times and your lungs fell out your chest, then you really know that treadmill ain't do nothing. You ain't do nothing until you play ball, and that can affect your defense, your shooting form, and everything else. So,
unless you're Jason Tatum, unless you're Jason Tatum, you come back from an ACL way early, and you already put 20 points up in your second game back.
Not bad, but that's not bad for a second game back. But even his first game, did you see the dunk he missed?
Yeah. That was the first one, but then he had a putback. He had a putback dunk after that, and then he started cooking. I think he finished with like 15 that night, and then 20 tonight. So
he had like 7 and 5 too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
solid stat line both games.
Yeah, kind of changes the East a little bit. For the rest of the season.
Well, there's always an outlier too. That's the other thing. There's always an outlier.
I feel like we've broken this game down pretty well. I actually got a question here that I want to ask, if it's okay. We rarely have Phil. We got 2 hosts here that I would love to hear both of y'all's feedback. I'll let y'all drive a conversation. If you want to hear from me, you can. But is there anyone in the East that you guys are scared of? How confident are both of you that we come out of the East? And is there a particular matchup now with Tatum back that you're not scared of, but that you hesitate more than others because you might feel like it's a bad win for the Knicks?
I'm not scared of anybody in the East. I really feel like everybody in the East is beatable, from the Celtics to the Cavs to the Pistons. I feel like everybody in the East is beatable. Funny enough, this new Cavs team, I have question marks about. I'm not gonna lie. Like even more than the Celtics and the Pistons. Like, only because Like I feel like Mitch is one of our big X factors for that Cavs team and playing double big. I'm not sure how fast Mike Brown will adjust to playing that double big and leaning on Sohan for like a backup thing. But I feel like the double big is the way to go for Cleveland. And I feel like Mike Brown and I have to adjust to that quickly and get off the Josh Hart starting for Cleveland. So I feel like that could possibly be an issue. But overall, I still feel like every team in the East is beatable, including the Pistons.
Every team being beatable is not the same as we will beat them. Do you think we will beat every team in the East and come out the East?
Will beat. I mean, I think we have a chance to beat every team. I don't want to be like, yes, we're beating every team. I feel like we're definitely going to beat. I feel like we could beat. I feel like we'll beat the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as people are really scared of the Pistons. I feel like we'll beat the Pistons.
I also agree.
I feel like piece. I feel like I actually feel like the Cavs might be our toughest matchup. It might be surprising. It might be surprising to people, but I feel like the Cavs might be the toughest matchup.
That's a different take than you had when the trades went down. I felt like you were kind of dismissive of those trades.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel like the Cavs might be, they match up with us a little better than everybody else. And like I said, I feel like Josh Hart starting in that lineup can doom us. And that's the way
against certain teams?
Against the Cavs in particular.
Okay. I agree.
Like it could be like that with the Pistons too, but I feel like it's more so that way with the Cavs more than the Pistons because I've seen how Josh Hart reacts when he has to play like real power forwards, like real 6'10" power forwards where I can't outmotor you to get 10 rebounds.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then you're going to have to rely on size, and Mike Brown's going to have to make the decision quickly to go double big.
Okay. Phil?
Yeah, like it's easy to say I think we can because you believe in your team, and you want to root for your team. But if I'm looking at the actual teams that we're in contention with, I'm not necessarily afraid of Boston because I feel like even with Tatum back, I think that we play more of a roundabout team game against them. The one thing that I think can be our biggest hindrance is what you and I have talked about many times, Lee, is when Jalen Brunson feels like he's got to compete against their star. But when you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they are both their stars. So it's not a tick for tack. Like those guys are kind of past the ego stage of my shot, my shot, my shot. They just want to win. They want a championship. They've won a championship. They want to taste it again. So you're not going to have any of them that care to go bucket for bucket against Jalen Brunson. So it's not going to be JB trying to compete with somebody and trying to make sure that he comes out on top. So I think they're going to play team ball, which will allow Jalen Brunson to play team ball, and we can beat the Boston Celtics. Because even though you got the power of Tatum and Brown, and you have some of the other guys that have stepped up, if you look at their bigs, I don't believe in their bigs. Like, even if they're playing decent, I don't believe in their bigs, especially with the way Cat is playing now defensively, where he's not our biggest liability. I'm not worried about any of their bigs or any paint buckets. So they live and die by the three, even on nights where they are atrocious from the three. So let them die by it. Let them die by it. We'll continue to grab the rebounds. Mitch and Cat have been elite all season, when it comes to rebounds, especially since the All-Star game. So I got us taking that. Cleveland, I think it's a matter of Mike Brown, not a matter of, the players. I agree with you on Josh Hart. I don't think Josh Hart should be in the starting lineup at all. I think that with them starting with double bigs, we need to start with double bigs. And that's why I'm hoping that all this time management of Mitchell Robinson throughout the season, less minutes, no double, no back-to-backs, any of that. I'm hoping that is to prepare for something like that, where we start with double bigs immediately, let Josh Hart come off the bench, let him and Alvarado come off the bench, run a fast-paced offense and transition, offense and defense off the bench. They don't really have that great of a bench when it comes to Cleveland. So move some of that power, move some of the rebounds. Like, they don't have a bad bench, but I think bench-wise, you get Miles McBride back. Yeah. Our bench is better when it comes to Diawara, Hart, Shaman. Like, now you have a whole bunch of guys that can run pace with their guys and with their young guys off the bench. So I think we have to start double bigs from the get-go with that lineup.
Yeah.
My only thing with Detroit, which I said last time we talked, if Jalen Brunson goes into it where it's him versus Cade, we will lose that series. We will lose that series. Where if it's not the Knicks versus the Pistons and it becomes Cade versus JB, because when JB goes tit for tat with a player like Cade comes out on top with points, but he also comes on top when it comes to assists, when it comes to defense, when it comes to, creating better opportunities for your team. When it comes to one-on-one, for some reason, Cade has the capability of still going one-on-one, but still making sure that the rest of his team eats. Jalen Brunson does not have that when it comes to that. So I think if they go into that series that way, we lose. Not because they're a better team, but because we made stupid choice in making it one-on-one instead of team versus team. The curveball I will throw out there, and I said this in the other day, one team that I think is a sleeper that we need to pay attention on, and the reason is because they can play at a pace that we can't, and that's why I'm hoping that they play a team like Detroit before we do, and maybe even cause an upset, or at least exhaust the team, the Charlotte Hornets. The way that they are playing, the way that they are shooting, and all that stuff right now, they could be a sleeper team that can really cause some waves in the playoffs. Because I look at all the teams that they're going against. Yes, they just lost to Miami, but I think in a 7-game series, you can't rely so much on, the two guys that you would pretty much expect, which is Bam Adebayo and Jaime Jaquez to do it in 7 games. With Charlotte, I feel like their talent is spread out pretty wide in their lineup now, where everyone's kind of eating. And I think that in a 7-game series, their energy can be exhausted. Like, I get exhausted just watching them, play basketball from a television screen. But now, being on the court against them, I think that they could be a sleeper. So I think Charlotte is gonna cause some waves there. I hope that they play someone else before they play us, and wear that team out or pull up an upset. But that's the only team I think that we could for sure lose against is Detroit, if Jalen Brunson doesn't come in and say, I want to be captain of the New York Knicks instead of I want to be Captain Clutch and get my name in the stars.
Yeah. I think Charlotte's too. I feel like Charlotte is. They're definitely asleep because they're playing well, but I feel like they're just so green. I'd be shocked if they won a series. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah,
but,
they don't have much playoff experience.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I do want to address one comment here. When you said James Harden facing the playoffs, JLS, I'm totally aware of that. It's not even about like a James Harden thing. It's more of a coaching matchup thing. It's really what it is. So it's like, to me, it's how fast does our coach adjust to and go away from our usual lineup.
That's interesting because Tom Thibodeau was JB Bickerstaff's papa, and now we're worried about a matchup with him with Mike Brown.
Right? And Mike Brown has been the king of adjusting.
Yes,
at least. He's done that to start the season, but like we've been kind of locked in with our starting lineup for since maybe January. I feel like
starting lineup.
Yeah, like when everybody, not everybody is healthy, we have not strayed away from the starting lineup.
Facts.
When we were hurt and Diawara was starting and everybody McCullough, we saw a whole bunch of mad science experiments. Like those days are over right now. So I feel like we're going into the season going, this is our starting 5. Yeah. And that's why I'm just like, I hope he veers away from that. Now, Josh Hart one series went to Tom Thibodeau himself and said, "I think you should start Mitch with Cat." He did that last season, and that's why Mitch in the
Boston.
I think it might have been the Pacers. I think he said it. No, he said it during Boston series, but I think he actually started doing it during the Pacers series. So if Josh Hart goes to him early and says, "I want to come off the bench," I feel like Mike Brown might listen. I hope he does.
I see the chat comparing the Hornets to the Pacers. The one thing the Hornets lack is a championship caliber Pascal Siakam, who's won a ring, two-way player, dominant, a true, unbelievable offensive force. Charlotte doesn't have that. There's no one on their roster that's even going to be that. I'm high on Brandon Miller, even the wife beater, Miles Bridges, but no one compares to Pascal Siakam. And LaMelo Ball doesn't play defense like Tyrese Halliburton. So, plus their coach, Charles Lee, also never been to playoffs too. Different than Rick Carlisle, right? Who's won a ring and he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. So I do think they could stretch a team to 7. An upset over Detroit, Boston, New York, I don't see it. They would have to move up in the stands and be like a 4-5 and then did an upset in that way. Maybe they beat Orlando 4-5 or Toronto 4-5. That's possible. But beating one of the top 3, I don't think so. Give my 2 cents. The Knicks coming out of the East. With Karl Anthony Towns playing the defense he is, I'm no longer worried or concerned about any matchup, including Detroit. I think we beat all of them. The one matchup I'm worried about is the OKC Thunder. That's the only one.
So the only thing I'll say about Charlotte, I agree with you on having the star. But when you were saying that they don't have the playoff experience, I think that in a lot of their players they don't. But I think that the moves that they made in bringing in Kobe White and also bringing in Grant Williams, that both have a lot of playoff experience, can help with that, can help some of these young guys get a mindset of that, because both of them have had playoff experience more so than some of the other guys. So I'm not saying that that's enough to set them through the roof, but there's a difference between we have no guys that have that kind of experience that can kind of coach us through, can kind of keep us a little more level-headed and stuff like that. So I feel like they had more playoff experience than OKC did when OKC won, when you look at the complete roster of OKC.
No, because OKC had been in the playoffs the year before. Yeah. They were in I believe, the semifinals the year before. But I do agree with your point about the bench, because you think about the Detroit Pistons, none of that team had playoff experience except for their bench. Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. last year. Those 3 guys, think about in the playoffs, those 3 had huge roles in extending our series to 6 games. They're also missing Josh Green, who was went to the finals with the Mavs. But multiple Western Conference Finals appearance with Dallas too.
But that's why I think we're saying they might push a team but not win, because
I agree with that.
Yeah, because Cade, and the main guys, they had to adjust. They were just whoa, okay, this is how it is. Okay, they're being ultra aggressive. I'm going to lay off and be there's a learning curve when there's pressure, and it's not just in the regular season's 82 games. There's a standard of defense being played that wavers up and down.
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing in the playoffs, every game is damn near the same level of defensive intensity, and then also on top of that, there's more physicality, and then there's the bright lights. Shout out to Jared Allen, lights too bright. All right, because then there's that too. So it's all that you got to adjust to on that first series, and it might take a game or two to even get your bearings.
Well said.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about Detroit compared to Charlotte, when I look at the roster through and through, we talk about how Cade Cunningham doesn't have a solid number 2, that's a real offensive threat right now. Their roster was even less offensively impressive last year. And they were still able to do what they were able to do in that series. If I look at Charlotte compared to them, there's more offensive power and defensive power on that Charlotte team right now than on that Pistons team last year. Yes.
No.
What?
Offensively, yes.
Offensively, for sure.
Yeah. Defensively, I disagree. Offensively,
Okay.
though, I definitely agree. Definitely, I mean, way better offensively. They didn't actually get out in transition and won. Detroit wants to slow it down. They really only had one valve in Cade. He was everything, but defensively, boy, that Piston team, bro. You saw the series; they were
No,
they
I'm
got
not talking
shooters
about
and
this year. Like, I'm talking about like
you talking about
just
last year compared to this year's. You talking about last year's Pistons?
I'm talking about like well-rounded as a team. Having options in the playoffs. People to rely on. Offensively, Cade was still the best player on their team last year, and Duran hadn't come into the position that he's fully in now. I think that Charlotte has a better roster now than Detroit did last year.
Hold on a second. I'm looking at the chat. Pistons just lost 3 in a row, and I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing the Heat are waxing the Pistons right now. Is Cade playing?
Yeah.
Cade was out last game.
Yeah, Cade was out last game, so I'm guessing he's out again today. Let's see. He might not be though. They show his picture there. He is playing. He's got 21 right now.
So they're just getting waxed. So I guess
they're just getting destroyed.
I guess Asor Thompson
26.
Dog.
Tyler Hero's having a crazy game though. Tyler's got 25 right now.
If the Celtics end up getting the number 1 spot and the Pistons end up sliding, holy cow.
Listen, if the Pistons play the 76ers or the Hornets in the first round, that could be an upset. Could be.
You think I still don't take the Pistons seriously. I mean, not the Pistons, the 76ers seriously.
In the first round, though? Man, I don't know, bro. Embiid?
Man, I do. It's never about Maxey. It's always about Embiid, man. That dude, I don't trust him to play 4 quarters of basketball. He's gonna have 2 good quarters where he looks like unstoppable. Then he's gonna be out of shape and out of gas by the time the 3rd, 4th quarter hits. It happens every freaking year.
Yep.
If it ended today, we'd play the Heat. I mean, we'd play the Orlando Magic.
Sweet.
If it ended today.
Sweet.
So,
yep. As long as we get out there uninjured, because they hurt. Because of the Orlando Magic.
The Magic.
Yeah, they didn't want to took our deuce.
Bro.
Yep.
but yeah. I feel you though. I feel you. Yo, good question, Lee. Good chat, guys. Good. Anything else you guys want to mention?
No, we haven't talked about that in a while, so I thought I would bring it up, and I wanted to hear Phil's point of view too on camera because I haven't had a chance to ask him. So I like y'all's responses. I mostly agree. I'm actually might be more assertive than y'all two on getting out of the East. It's crazy because I was the most doubtful about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I think we're gonna get out the East. If you gun to my head, I think we're gonna get out the East. But I was trying to assess who I feel like we would have the most problems with.
And we all agree Detroit.
Well, I actually don't. I feel like
you said Cleveland. That's right.
We said Cleveland.
I said Cleveland.
And I think we get out of the East if we play the style of basketball that we saw us play over the last few weeks. I feel like tonight was a little bit rough. Was a little more of what my concern was. The tick for tack type thing. I feel like Jalen wanted to, it's like little brother syndrome, when he plays Luka. I feel like he wants to, like you said, he's trying to always still prove himself. Like for us as Knicks fans, we've accepted him. Like we love him. Like that's our captain. But sometimes he plays with Napoleon syndrome of like, I'm going to prove that I'm as good as anyone else.
Actually, I actually wanted to get to another point, but we got off track. The Mike Brown did not sit him for a quarter and a half. Like he played, I think he played the whole 3rd and 4th quarter.
Definitely the whole 3rd.
He played the whole 3rd and 4th quarter.
Damn.
So when you're talking about why the turnovers are happening and why the decision making might be weird, or the process of making decisions and getting others involved, he should have done that. But I'm talking about your legs start to go. Your legs start to go if you get no rest. The only rest he had was the timeout that he had.
Yeah.
When the foul happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 2 minutes.
And I agree with that. But like I think at least 2 of those turnovers were him dribbling into 3 or 4, Lakers, and the ball going out on their foot because he couldn't make it through them.
Right.
That's not tired legs.
I also think he got fouled on those and they didn't call it. But I'm not even those two aside. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that he should pass the ball. Like I do feel like there was like 6 or 7 possessions in a row where he was like ISO, and I was like, I wanted him to run something else, preferably with Cat, to get something going.
If he's on play 2 quarters, make 60% of that time on the court be off ball, and let Bridges bring the ball up, or Clarkson or Alvarado, and then run the offense to Cat. He just kind of rotates on the perimeter, catches.
Yeah, he needs like a couple of plays off.
Got that stat in the chat. He's now back to number 1 in terms of time on ball and dribbling, which is not good.
Yeah.
And that's crazy when you look at how good our roster is. Like when we have that many good players, I would understand if he had the Washington Wizards roster and it was him and the Washington Wizards. Like, of course, he's going to want the ball in his hand that much. But when we have as good as players as we have, that's a crazy number to be at number 1.
I agree, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
That's Brunson. That's just like Brunson's mentality, and that's like it's not the coaching staff trying to mitigate that. They try early in the season, and it's just like this is who he is. This is how you win with him, and it's how you lose with him.
And I agree. So many people are like, Mike Brown's not doing anything. Those are the same people that love Tibbs. Tibbs couldn't do anything about it. That is who Jalen Brunson is as a player. Love Jalen Brunson, but he is a me first kind of player. And until that breaks, there's always that question mark of, are we going to see that down the line when the game is on the line? And that's the scary part for me.
The troubling aspect of how to change that is, number 1, we don't have a clear number 2 guy. Like, no one has really asserted themselves. Cat has overall, but not offensively, because his points are now dropping. He's only like 19, 18 a game. And 2, we need someone who's going to demand the ball. Like, listen, these are my sets. Give it to me. Get in Brunson's face and say, you looked off me here. You looked off me there. I haven't gotten a touch in 5 possessions. We don't have a guy like that either. That's not Bridges, not OG. It's not Cat. So it's tough, man. This team is not just built around Brunson's skill set, but also his personality and his happiness as well.
But also, it's like, I've definitely noticed a more concerted effort to get Cat the ball after All-Star break. Like his touches are going up. Now the thing with Cat is a team player still. So it's like there'll be portions of the game where he gets the ball, but if he gets double, he's getting off the ball. So it's like, I feel like the Chicago game was a good example of that, where we were featuring Cat in the first half. He was getting the ball. And then the second half, he got doubled every time he touched it, and he kept kicking it out, and he ended up with 5 shots. And it's like, in moments like that, he's like, I'm playing T-ball. Yeah, he's getting touches, but he's not getting shots. So touches are different from shots. So it's like, if they're doubling him and he's not shooting the ball, then it's like, all right, how do we get him the ball where they can't double? Or how do we work the ball around and give him the ball so it makes it harder to double? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. Good clarification.
Yeah. Oh, Sterling asked me a question. Says, what percentage chance do you have the Knicks beating Boston, Detroit, 76ers, and Cleveland? Each separately? Like, I feel like all of them are like in the 80s. I feel like all of them are like in the 80s.
I said we have an 85% chance to get the East overall.
Oh, there you go. Okay. 85% sounds like a good number to me too.
Yeah, factor in the average of all those teams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd say 80.
I think we're finally going to have an easy first round. We haven't had an easy first round matchup since Brunson got here. Like every first round matchup, I thought Atlanta was going to be easy. We got freaking beat by Atlanta. Miami wasn't easy. Philadelphia sure as hell wasn't easy. Cleveland wasn't easy. I think this is going to be the first year, either Toronto or Orlando. I'm not using easy as a slur either. I'm not trying to any team, underrate them. But
I know what you mean.
Boston, Detroit, Cleveland.
Not take us to 6 or 7. Yes. I understand.
Yes, a Orlando series is easy compared to a Pistons series.
Right.
That's what I mean.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, yo. I'm good. I think I'm good. I think we talked about anything you wanted to talk about. I don't know if you have any bro picks or anything today. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. The
All
only
right.
thing I'll say to close is I saw the quote that said from Dionel, he said he's not a me first player, he's a scorer. It's not an either or, it's a both and. Like you can be a scorer, like a pure scorer, and still not be a me first player. Like you look at some of the best, Steph Curry. If you want to talk about a scoring point guard, like that's him. When you look at the runs that he was able to make, you had games where you talked about Klay Thompson and how Klay Thompson was the one that pulled them through that game. Then when there was Durant, you had Durant that was the one that pulled them through that game. Or even freaking as annoying as he is, Green was the one that pulled them through that game. Even seasons where annoying little players like Jordan Poole, they were the elite player of the game. You were able to say that because, yes, he was still that scoring point guard, but he didn't always have to say, I'm going to prove why I'm Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry just knew he was Steph Curry, and that's what Jalen Brunson needs to do is just know that he is great and that he doesn't have to prove his greatness and go tick for tack with the other players in the game, because that's going to make him even more great, is being able to say, I don't have it right now, and this player does, and it's better that I lead the Knicks to a championship and mark my legacy as a New York Knick than it is to pull every single game out by the power of Jalen Brunson. So it's not either or.
To your point, Curry didn't win his first Finals MVP until the 4th championship. To your point.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny
that he's still the greatest scoring point guard to ever play the game.
Second best guard ever.
Yeah, and I always have this argument with Jalen Brunson talking about scoring guards and wanted to be me versus Reeves. Like I always felt like I'll keep saying this till the cows come home. He is a natural scorer first and a playmaker second. I still feel like he is in the process of learning to balance the two. I don't think it's like it's me and it's all about me thing. It's more like, how do I balance being who I am and getting everybody involved? And I feel like that's a learning process, especially this is season 3 of running a team. Last 2 games, he didn't have it. He had 15 assists the last game and 15 assists the game before. What really impressed me about the last game specifically was he saw OG had it. He saw Cat had it, and he deferred. He gave them the ball. He even gave OG the ball one time and went to the corner. You know what I mean? So I still feel like Jalen Brunson is a scorer. That's what he does. He's been really good at making his name in ISO, but I still feel like he's still learning how to use his teammates and balance the two. And that's kind of why I have been excited about the last couple of weeks, because I'm starting to see him learning how to use Karl-Anthony Towns. And I feel like I'm seeing passes to Karl-Anthony Towns from Jalen Brunson in the last 2 weeks that I haven't seen all last season. Like how many times have we seen pocket passes to Karl-Anthony Towns from Jalen Brunson? I haven't seen it until last week, and I've seen it 2 to 3 times today. So I think he's still learning, and I think he'll get there, but it's going to be a process.
Can I say something before we close? I agree with part of that. I think he's learning to be a little more sacrificial now, but it was still a choice. Julius Randle was still a bucket getter. Regardless of my frustrations with Julius Randle, like that was still an opportunity all the time that he was with Julius Randle to learn how to be a two-man kind of basketball. Like it's not like he's played with players that weren't worth giving the ball to. So him learning that now as opposed to learning that then, that was a choice. Like that's not something that like, oh, well, he's never had the opportunity to really learn that he's not just the only guy that can score. Like he's had that opportunity. He's also played with Cat. This is their 2nd season together. So he's had a whole year to kind of learn that as well. Second point is you look at the roster of players that he played against, and it proves my point. tonight, besides Luka Doncic, their point guard, who is their main guy, their main center of attention is their point guard, right?
Mhm.
Tick for tack. The game before, no, it's not the Jamal Murray show. It's first the Jokic show, so it's not tick for tack against the other point guard. Jalen Brunson, when it comes to another point guard that is on his level or higher, he overcompensates in those games. Just like we said in the Cade Cunningham battle, he always tries to go tick for tack against Cade Cunningham. Why? Because the point guard is the definite most elite player on their court, on their roster. And so he tries to prove who is the guy between the two. And that is what we saw in the fourth quarter between him and Luka. Luka put the team on his back and continued to fire 3 after 3 in that fourth quarter and was efficient and was able to outdo what Jalen Brunson was able to do. And Jalen Brunson continued to force it. So, yes, you see games where he is more inclusive. And a lot of those games where he's more inclusive is because he's not going up against another point guard that he is trying to prove that he is elite against.
I think that is a complete narrative that you made up without any proof. You're just saying it's a point guard.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just gave you the proof.
You gave me an opinion. You talked like you were
Okay.
in his mind, and you said he's doing this against other point guards because he's the other point guard.
Okay.
You're saying the reason he's doing it is solely because
I'm saying look at the teams that he does it against. Who are their main guys? Their point guard.
I'm talking. I gave you a good 20 minutes to talk.
Go for it.
I'm talking. All right. So your first part, you started off saying this is who he is. Right? He had time to do this, so he doesn't have to learn it. Like he came to the Knicks when, like 4 years? Was it 4 or 5?
I think this is season number 4. No.
Yeah,
I think it's season 4. See, 4 or 5, right? Season 4 or 5. All right.
4.
Season 4. All right. So he's been running a team, being the guy for 4 years. Right. So this is year 4. He's playing with a different player he's playing with a different type of player. Julius Randle is giving you the ball in the post, and he operates out the post, and Jalen Brunson can shoot. He's not like he can pick and pop, but he's not really a pick and pop guy. You know what I'm saying? Karl-Anthony Towns is a different type of player completely. So it's like what I'm saying is you're saying, oh, he's had all this time to do it. He has time to do it with Julius Randle, and he didn't even start getting chemistry with Julius Randle until I feel like his year before, the year he got traded. The year after he got traded is when Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle actually started getting chemistry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It wasn't there before. It really wasn't. He hardly passed to Julius Randle. Then there was a year where it was buddy ball. It was like they were just passing it to each other, and Grimes wasn't involved, and that's why Grimes got pissed and got shipped out. But my whole point is he's still running a team. He's learning to run a team. He is a scorer first. Just like Cade Cunningham. What is this, year 4 for Cade Cunningham? Year 3 or year 4?
I think 4.
This is year 4. Okay, perfect example. Year 4 of Cade Cunningham running the team. He is a passer first, right? This is the first year Cade Cunningham is saying, I'm scoring the ball. Right? Year 5. This is year 5. He's a passer first. He was passive. There was an interview with Cade Cunningham talking about how passive he was and realizing how he needs to score more to be effective. That's year 5 of running a team. I'm saying it's the opposite with Jalen Brunson. He is a scorer first, and he has to learn, oh, shoot, I have to pass the ball. I don't even think it's like, yes, there's a bravado and but I also feel like, how do I use Cat in this way? How do I get in the pocket pass? How do I pitch it back? How do I develop that part of the game that don't have naturally? Because naturally I'm a scorer. And I feel like that's going to come with time. And it's not just because it's a guy on the other side who I want to beat, but I have to learn the game and learn the other part of my game that hasn't been developed yet.
Yeah, I agree with Phil's energy and Jay's logic on this one. In Dallas, he was primarily a shooting guard. He rarely was the one that initiated the offensive sets. In the playoffs, they would go a little back and forth where him and Luka would switch, but for the majority of the time, Luka was running the show and Jalen was off ball. So him even being on ball and running a team and getting other guys involved was never something he was tasked to do in Dallas. And then that's why I think it took a while for him to Randall. Cat is such a very different animal than Randall, too, in terms of how they played next to each other. Randall didn't really have a gravity, but Cat does. I mean, Jalen's even learning how to play with that, too.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. All right.
I appreciate your view. Even just looking at tonight's game and looking at the games that you were talking about, his assists, I think that he has the superpower of creating for his players. He has the facilitating abilities. He has the basketball knowledge, which is why you have games like the other games where he's where he's facilitated and given 15 assists. If you look at today's game, it's telling to me when his shot is not falling, his assists are up. As soon as he starts actually getting shots into the bucket, like actually making shots, his assists go down. So all throughout the game, he was assisting, okay? And so, like, when he actually started scoring in the fourth quarter, which was the only buckets efficiently that he was scoring, his assists were the lowest in the fourth quarter than in the whole game. In the quarter where it mattered for us to get the best shots possible and work as a team to pull this game off, he started scoring, and all of a sudden his assist numbers dropped. He had 1 assist in the fourth. All the other quarters, he had multiple assists. So what I'm saying is when Jalen Brunson is not fully scoring at top tier scoring Jalen Brunson capabilities, he does an amazing job facilitating, and he can get those 15 assists where he's not shooting well, but he's like, I'm still going to contribute. But when he starts scoring, the assists kind of get obsolete, and it goes, so it's a one or the other in that quarter where he's scoring buckets. And that's my issue, is not that he can't do it, because we've seen that he can. 15 assists in a game? Holy freaking crap. Like, that's half of what I want to see from the Knicks every single night. That's 15 assists. I know he can do it. But what I'm saying is he went from 3 quarters where he wasn't shooting well and he was facilitating and finding others to that fourth quarter where he actually started scoring buckets, and then all of a sudden the assists kind of started to disappear. That's all I'm saying. Is when Jalen Brunson
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Offensively, the assists become obsolete. And that's the problem, is it should not be separated. It should be, I am the captain of this team. What is the best for this current scenario? Because I have the skill sets to do both.
I don't think I'm not arguing that he didn't pass much in the fourth quarter. I'm not arguing that. My argument is he's learning in real time. That's my argument, especially because he's a natural scorer, and he was the best clutch player in the NBA for the last 2 years. Now this season we've been blowing more teams out. So I feel like we haven't had even that many clutch games really as many, but I feel like it's a work in progress, especially in games like this where there's not an obvious pass except for maybe one person in Cat. You know what I'm saying? OG doesn't have it. Mikal doesn't have it. So it's like the team in general, when it's really Cat. It was really Cat and Shamit, if anything. And Cat and Shamit came in. And Shamit came back in Shamit came back in with like what, 4 minutes left? I think 4 minutes left. Shamit came back in. So it's but
that's what I'm saying is, I see Real Predicate. He says you collect assists when others are making shots. If you look, there were 2 players playing alongside of him that had the best shooting percentage of the game in that fourth quarter. Cat and Clarkson. In the fourth quarter, Cat and Clarkson had 2 of the best shooting field goal percentages in a quarter for the Knicks. So he had two players in alongside of him that had the two of the best field goal percentages at that time. Jordan Clarkson was shooting 66% for the field, and Cat was shooting 60%. So yes, I agree completely that in order to collect assists, you need people that are shooting well. He had two people that were shooting well in that fourth quarter, okay? And they were not passed to by Jalen Brunson. So that's what I am saying is, yes, if you're going to say you need someone that's actually going to score the bucket, yes, in the other quarters where people were shooting 33% or 40 whatever percent, I agree. But in that fourth quarter where his assists dropped, the players had two of the highest shooting percentages of all four quarters. And that was two players alongside of him that had the highest shooting percentages in the whole game. And that's when his assists plummeted because his scoring was also up. So the assists went down. It's a give or take with Jalen. It's not a both and. It needs to be a both and.
Now, before you got here, Phil, we actually me and Lee and I were actually having this conversation about morning because I actually said one more two-man with Cat in the fourth quarter. Because and like I said before, I'm not saying that he didn't shoot too much in the fourth quarter. I want to be very clear what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I like the offensive process with Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's still in the process of picking his spots and learning when to do it and when not to do it, and learning how to use his teammates properly. That's more of what I'm saying. And before you got here, Phil, me and Lee, I was like, yo, Lee, I feel like Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns should have ran more of a two-man game, right? Remember I said that, Lee?
Yep.
And what did you say?
That would work more efficiently if they had shooters who were making shots that allows more spacing and the defense not having a crowd and blitz.
Exactly. So I feel like in times like that, it's even harder to get other people involved because now the team is looking at you to make a shot out of nothing. And that's what he's been doing his career. So it's like you need other people to make shots to help you pass the ball sometimes.
Yes.
Is what I'm really saying.
And I agree. And that's why I'm saying the fourth quarter was my frustration, not the rest of the game. Because there were people that were making, it an issue. Like it was Cat and Clarkson that were alongside Brunson keeping us in the game in the fourth quarter. But then it became a lack of assisting in that fourth quarter. So Jalen's assists were great throughout the game. And then they came to a halt in the fourth quarter when two other guys were shooting really well. And like we said, in those turnovers, there were two or three defenders that he drove into. So now you have 3 or 4 Lakers on you that is causing the turnover. When you have two guys that are shooting over 65%, that could at least help in that scenario. So, yes, I agree completely that there are certain times in the game where, like Jalen had to, do what he did. I do not believe the fourth quarter was one of them. I do believe that part of the reason we could not get closer in the end was because it was each player was creating for themselves.
I'll say this. I don't think we lost this game today on Jalen Brunson being selfish. I think we lost because we shot 24% from three collectively as a unit, and we got 0 out. We got 21 points from our 3 wings combined, Hart, OG, and Bridges. I will say, in order for us to win a championship, the biggest flaw that we have to worry about is Jalen Brunson playing hero ball through the course of a series. If he does that, we are going to lose a series. That, to me, that's our biggest Achilles heel. And that's going to take Mike Brown and Daddy Brunson to make sure it doesn't happen. It's also going to take his teammates calling him out in the locker room and timeouts and huddles and on the bench to make sure that he gets out of that hero ball mode and keeps the team involved.
I also think we have to find a way to score when in three-point shots not falling.
Ooh, you're cooking now.
Because that's the games that we actually lost.
A little late in the season, though.
The games that we lost are the games that the games that we lost recently are all games where we didn't shoot well from three.
100%.
Every single one.
This is who we are.
Yeah.
Like the Boston Celtics 2 years ago.
Exactly. And the year before that, we survived by getting the offensive rebound and putting it back up.
And that's why
how
I'm
we
saying in
survive.
the fourth quarter,
And
it should have been feed the ball to Cat because
I agree with that. It
it's
should have.
freaking Jackson Hayes. Like, I'm sorry, like Jackson
Right.
Hayes. Yeah, like that caused them to get fouled. Get on the foul line.
We said that too. We absolutely said that. So I think we're gonna end it here because I feel like we kind of going in circles. So I think we'll end it here. Lee, let them know they can find you, man.
@_Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBED on Twitter. But most of all, I want to thank the KOT community, family, subscribers to Substat. Y'all have been really, really helping us out on those Substat numbers. Amazing numbers in terms of email opens, amazing numbers coming from Twitter, amazing numbers just coming from the search bar. People don't in niche, they're coming to our Substat to read our articles, and you guys are killing it. My Substat tweets went from averaging 4 or 5 likes, most of them the KOT team. I'm averaging over 250 likes per post now. My newest one that I posted today is just hit 100. So the last one, 320. 320 likes on the Substat. That's more than any of the other articles ever, and I'm going by what the audience is showing me they like. They want less really heavy data, really heavy play calling. They want more specific player analysis that involves some play calling around their strengths and weaknesses. So I've given you Diawara, I've given you Mikal Bridges, I've given you Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. Today, David Karl-Anthony Towns, and why his defense is finally making me a believer we can win a championship with him at the 5.
That's what's up. Good stuff, Lee. Building that brand. All right. And of course, you already know Mr. Knicks Nightcap himself. Shout out to Phil. Phil is one of my favorite people to argue with because we pretty much disagree with like a lot of basketball stuff, but it's fun. But we also But Phil, let them know, man. Let them know about Knicks Nightcap and where to find you.
Not much to say. You don't need to follow me. If you want to, it's Knicks Nightcap. Come on Thursday. We will be, I believe it's Thursday. Let me check. I believe it's this Thursday. We got a show. This Thursday, 8 p.m. I'll open it up with one of my favorite whiskey brands, Dark Arts, talking about, what's going on in the Knicks community. But you don't need to follow me. I'm posting a link right there. Follow my guy, one of my co-hosts right there. Follow that guy. That's Al right there. And I'm about to put Apollo's as well. Follow them. You don't need to follow me. It doesn't really matter. I don't care if you like me or not. Like those guys. That's what matters. So follow them. Come to the show because you like them. Come to the show because you want to disagree with me. I don't really care. But support those two guys. Support what they're doing. They have their own shows as well. But they've been nothing but incredible. I don't care. I'm not going to lose sleep if you like me or not. But I appreciate the support for those of you guys that do support. And if you want to talk good whiskey and basketball, then that's the place to go. But also follow everyone else on KOT. Follow what Lee's doing. He's killing it, like straight up killing it. Follow Ryan G. Like that's one of the guys that can be super passionate, yet it sounds like he's just chilling over tea or in the library. Like he's so quiet and chill. Like it's seriously like he's having afternoon tea in a library, but he's like still talking passionately. It's a crazy, crazy skill set. Follow B. She's going to be on with Dexter, I think, tonight. Shout out to her. She's killing it. Shout out to our girl, Ebony. She's been, here when she can, not here when she can, but seriously, one of the greatest people you will ever meet. So shout out to Ebony. So thank you guys all so much. Shout out to my guy Predicate in the building for all the love. I love going back and forth with you, bro. Like you are a blessing. And everybody else, Jay, keep killing it. Like we're all here because you started something. So thank you for the love. Thank you for giving us a place to talk Knicks. And until next time, God bless you guys. Peace.
Yeah, man. And
isn't it hilarious to hear Phil say that if you don't like me, I don't care? When absolutely nobody,
no one hates Phil.
Phil is the most Phil is as likable as I am unlikable. Phil is absolutely likable. No one dislikes Phil. Even when you disagree with Phil, you love Phil. Come on,
that's a fact.
I appreciate you guys.
I don't think there's anybody on the planet who doesn't like Phil. I feel like Lee thinks I am what Phil is.
I love both of you guys. Come on.
Oh man. All right. But yeah, if you want to argue with Phil, though, definitely go to Knicks Nightcap because he everybody comes up on. He has a segment where everybody can come up and say they're
Round table.
round table discussions.
Phil's
So-
never afraid of a smoke. I love that.
Exactly. So
Not at all.
if
And I'm okay
you-
being wrong. Like, I'm okay being wrong. So if you want to prove me wrong, come on over. It's always fun.
Exactly, it's always fun. All right, good show, guys. Love a good debate. You already know people love that. I can already see by the numbers that people love that. All right, that is the show. Thank you guys for watching, and as always,
Shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
we're all here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.